Good morning, YouTube. I'm just wanting to go live here. I won't be on video today, but I've seen a lot over the last few days as it draws nigh to election time, and I'm gonna be straight up with anyone that if you know how you're gonna vote, um, kudos to you. I'm very happy that you know which way you want to vote, but I sit here just I'm just baffled at it all. I know that during elections time every year, that not every year, but yeah, I can say every couple of years for your state, and then every 4 years with the presidential race. Oftentimes, both parties is just gonna come together and just they have a plan in which they're gonna say, "Hey, here's a campaign promise," and they'll get elected, and they'll be president for multiple years. So let's say they get to the third year, and they stated that, "Hey, here's I'm gonna work on my campaign promise my last year, and as a president, and then they'll go into the next election year talking about, alrighty, I kept my promise." And it's like, you can't do that. I sit here now, just on the fence. So I hear what Trump is saying, I hear what Kamala is saying. And it's just a situation in which I don't understand. I don't understand at this point. We can sit here all day. You can you can be a Democrat, you can be a Republican, but it's just, to me, is this a situation in which, what are we doing? Um, I know as it relates to just Kamala at this point, she is losing the vote and among black males as a whole. If you join the live, I'm not going to be on video right now. I'm just in deep thought right now, just off of what I'm hearing from this last convo with Kamala Harris with Charlamagne the God. I'm just at the point that me being a me being a black man in America, I know it can be hard among. I know the opportunities could be bare. I know a lot of people lean on the race card as it relates to a lot of things, but I'm not coming on live today as a person that's going to talk about being black in America and being a black male. I'm looking at it as a whole. Like, I'm someone that's currently single, no kids, and I see how I see how America is right now. You can tell, like, a lot of the gas prices is high, the cost of living is high in a lot of places, to the point that everyone's actually you got a lot of people relocating from states to go to other states because the gas prices are high, the rent is high, and etc. Me changing careers, I'm actually using where I'm possibly going to relocate to as as a factor. So is this a situation to me that if I'm offered, like right now, I have offers in DC and Virginia, but the cost of living in both of those areas are very, very high. So why would I choose to move to a place like DC or Virginia when I can just move to a place like Tennessee? I can move to a place like Washington State, a place like Nevada, like place that don't have in Texas that don't have state taxes. I may pay my regular fair share in federal taxes, but at least I'm not getting killed in state taxes. At least I'm not getting killed with high gas prices. Like right now, it's just it's ridiculous. And I don't know honestly how anyone could be secure on Kamala Harris as the president. You know, it was I mean, I've been on YouTube most of the day and hearing what a lot of people are saying about that Charlamagne the God interview made a lot of people feel uncomfortable. It's just a situation in which, you know, I think people would say anything to actually get your vote, to be honest. And I can't blame anyone who said that they'll go for Trump. Because if you look at 2020, 2016 to 2020, taxes wasn't that high, gas was low, the economy was booming. And here's the thing, you may not agree with what everything Trump says, like, or things that he's done in the past, but people were afraid of America when he was in the House. He stood firm on a lot of his policies, and you know I'm always been someone that will always lean on policies that a person would have when they're asking to be elected. And it's just I just feel like Kamala is just going backwards, back and forth. She's assuming that because she's mixed that she has the black vote, and that's not the case. Like no one like if anything at, right now in the polls, she's losing bad, and she may have a lot of women votes, but it's just a matter on as a black man, I just don't see the benefit to be honest. Like I'm sitting here listening to what she's saying. She talks about a lot of things going around in circular motions. Nothing's really spelled out. And a lot of the policies that she's actually wanting to do is for a lot of the people that's not on paper, So it's like you're telling me right now that someone can migrate to America and get $20,000 for a house, don't have to pay taxes and all of this other stuff, and everyone else who's nationalized citizens, you like what do we get? You keep saying that you want the higher tax bracket people to pay their fair share, but I'm gonna be honest with you. If I was someone that finally made it in life, I worked hard to get to where I'm at, and you're gonna make me pay more because I finally made it? Like, what kind of mess is that? Like, why as why like who's gonna sign up for that? Who's gonna sign up for the policies that they want to put in place? Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, these last 4 years been hell, and anyone that said these last 4 years haven't been hell is crazy. You know, whether it's gas prices, the food prices going up, and the thing about it, if you're increasing all of these, like if you're increasing all you're doing all these things. A lot of the things that they put in place, whether those bills that they pass and etc., it's causing inflation. The actions you're making doesn't benefit everyone as a whole. If you're joining the live, I'm just having a midnight conversation. I'm not. I have no plans on being on camera. It just. I'm kind of really just baffled at just the Democratic Party, party at this point. It's just I just feel growing up, most of the time as you were growing up, most most of the time the Democratic Party, a lot of the black people in America just voted Democratic because they felt as though the Democratic Party is gonna look out for the middle class and the poor Americans and make sure that everyone's good to go. And the older I got, it to me became more of a lie. It's almost like the people that go to church. Like I was born in church. A lot of my family members are preachers and etc. But I look at politics like the church. It's just as it's just as much bad stuff going on in church as it is with politics. It's just a matter of I just feel like a lot of things have just been a lie, and I don't see right now. Just being honest, if you're just joining the live and just having a midnight conversation, just going over just voting in America, it's like I just feel like people people talk bad about Trump, but Trump is just straight to the point. He's someone whose policies are pretty much straightforward. His plans are pretty much spelled out. But if you look at what Kamala has going on, she'll get these questions. She'll go in and do all these shows and do all these other to get on TV and for a show. And what people failing to realize is she's making a fool of herself. She's doing all these publicity stunts to get votes or to reach different dynamics, and it's just sad. I'm someone who's like I'm all about policies. So if someone actually has the policies that I like, I'm pretty much going to lean towards that. So I'm not a party person. So I'm not a Democrat or a Republican, but I will say I'm more on the conservative side as it relates to a lot of things. But I just look at I'm just looking at right now that it's like 40 some days away from election, and I tend to get more and more frustrated. Like I've been someone who's went to school and got a couple of degrees, and I've been in classes in which we had to do debates and different things. And when you're debating something, like you got to be able to explain the why behind a lot of things that you're going over. And if you can't explain your rationale about something, you're gonna get grilled by the other person who's debating you. It's just what I've seen in the past is a lot of people are good saying words in front of cameras and they don't back it up. So it's just a point in which if you're someone who actually stands by your morals and your stand by your morals, then to me that's something that you don't have to put on front street. That's who you are as a person. But when you have to go and keep showing the world, going network to network, platform to platform, to prove that you're better than someone, like what is the end game for this here? Like I feel like with Kamala, she's going to every platform that she can get in front of a camera. And then she get in front of the camera, she's embarrassing herself. Like no one's actually believing what she's saying. And then when you go in and you listening to the responses, it's almost as if she already knows the questions going into these platforms, or if if that platform supports her, then they're gonna make sure that the questions are catered to responses that she can provide. And to me, it's just getting more and more ridiculous by each day. And to be honest with you, how it looks right now, don't be surprised if Trump wins by 15, 16 points. It was a closer it was close when he was actually, yeah, and that's what I'm with you, Jesus. I mean, it is. It kind of makes us feel like we're all stupid, and we're not. Like we are not stupid people. Like we as America, we put in work every day. We provide for our families, and to be honest with you, you shouldn't have to live your life on a credit score. You should not have to worry about when you get paid, how am I gonna be able to live? It's just a situation in which me personally, I've had a 6-figure job before, and to be honest with you, as it relates to just how inflation is right now, you're making real life decisions when you get paid. And depending on where you live at in the US, you're making real life decisions at the gas tank. You're making real life decisions when you go to the grocery store. And if you're someone that get paid every couple weeks, if you're a numbers guy like myself and manage stuff on a spreadsheet, it's tough trying to figure that out. That's why I said, to your point, Jesus, it ain't about race, man. Like, it's just a matter, they want to make it a race game, but it's not a race game. It's I just feel when you look at bills that you have to come with every day. I'm single, have no kids. Me being single and have no kids, I shouldn't have to be making life decisions on rent, on utilities, grocery stores, and everything else. Like, I don't see how some people make it, because I'm sitting there like, my last job, I was making 105K, but my rent was over 2,000. My utilities and renter's insurance was another $300 or $400. Um, if you want cable, which I didn't have cable, but internet, you gotta look at phone bills. I mean, like my cell phone. When I put in everything that I had, sometimes one paycheck wouldn't cover all the bills. So you're almost having to rely on both of your checks just to get through. And I'm like, imagine if I was married and had kids. Like, if I was married and had kids, I couldn't survive. I couldn't provide for a family with the salary that I'm getting paid. And it's sad. It's sad as a whole. It's very, very frustrating. And me being an army vet, I was in the military for 8 years. Like, fresh out of high school, went in the military for 8 years, had 3 deployments and etc. And I felt more secure when I was in the military. Like, I felt like the policies for the military and everything in place, I had benefits. I had a lot of things that the government took care of as a soldier. And when you get out of the military and go into the civilian world, you don't have that in place anymore, which is why I'm changing careers to go back to the federal government, because it's like the structure as a whole. You're someone that's coming in, I want to look for the future. I want to make sure that a job that I have has retirement, pension. I've been out of the military for 15 years, and I'm a very smart guy with multiple degrees, but two of the careers I was in didn't have retirement. You can sit here all day and work to kingdom come, and you'll never feel secure with the money you make. Like I said, I sit here and I look for I do want to get married at some point. I do want to start a family. But the way this economy is, it's no way I'm gonna be able to provide for a family in this economy. And most of these jobs, are going to put you at salary because they put you at salary. They don't have to pay you overtime. So imagine making 100K a year and you working 60 or 70 hours a week and getting paid for 40. Like that's highway robbery. Like I've had two jobs, my last two long-term jobs. One was 8 years and another one was 3 years. That's what was happening to me. Being in a salary job and working 60 to 80, close to, let's say 60 to 75 hours a week, you can't make it off of that because they don't have to pay you overtime. You're locked into a pay scale that is going to automatically put you paycheck to paycheck. And the reason why I'm single and not having a kids right now is I'm worried about this economy. Like I'm 41 years old, good guy, and no records, nothing against me or nothing, but it's just how can I be secure in this economy dealing with what we're dealing with as a whole, as a people right now? Like with the elections coming up, like what do you do? What do you do to determine who you're going to vote for at this time? Like, are you going to sit here and say, well, I'm born and raised as a Democrat and you're going to just vote Democrat? Man, those days are over, to be honest. Like, you just voting for a party just because that's how you was born and raised. It has to be more at this point in your life. You can't just sit here and say, hey, especially if someone in my shoes, like I said, I'm an African American guy. I'm a black guy in America, 8-year veteran. I have 2 degrees, and I struggle, and I have no kids. So I can, to me as a whole, me having no kids and struggling with a 6-figure job, like that had no retirement. I had to make a decision a few months ago to change careers because I do want to get married at some point. I do want to start a family at some point. But this scares the heck out of me, guys. Like, hey, Jesus, thank you. I really appreciate it. That's one thing in my life I always took pride in. It was being a soldier and supporting the flag and everything. So thank you for acknowledging me as a soldier. I really appreciate it. But it's just I'm scared as hell, to be honest, guys, as it relates to this election. And I'm someone who saves a lot. I got my disability and everything, PTSD and etc. And I'm just afraid of just I'm just afraid as a whole. I was just looking at just a lot of the commentary over the last couple of weeks with agendas and stuff. It's just when you're when you have to really think about your future, as I have over the last few months, and starting a new chapter and changing careers. A lot of my decision making came into where I want to live, the job that I want, and the opportunities to retire. And being a soldier that has PTSD, um, we get. I mean, at a veteran, we get that every month, but having to deal with things that you may have seen when you was in the military, and then you get out of the military, you do the right thing. I use my GI Bill. I got my associate degree. I got a bachelor degree. Started a couple careers, and it was just dead end. It had no end game. It had no retirement opportunities, and when you're sitting back just wondering, okay, this can't be life. This can't be it. Like you work so hard and bust your butt, to get to this point in your life in which I was at the point that, you know what, I had a traveling job for years in staffing, and I I felt like I was in a good place to actually start dating and possibly start a family. And when I changed career, I most recently changed careers, I immediately was like, "It's no way I can afford to possibly start a family," because everything just immediately started going up. Like whether it was gas, whether it was groceries, just day to day costs, even rent, utilities, car insurance is evaluated every 6 months based on the market value and where you live. So a lot of these companies will up the costs on you because of where you live or because they can. So it's like if we're going to the polls in a few weeks to go vote, all of these need to be factored in. Like before you go and choose who you're going to vote for, look at what's going on in America, guys. Look at our gas. Look at groceries. Look at cost of living. Look at everything that you have to go through on a day to day basis, week to week basis, month to month, yearly basis as a whole. And think about what that person is saying that they can possibly do for you. And what I want you to also do is use common sense. Because some of the stuff that Kamala Harris is saying is not factual. It can't happen. So it's just a situation in which I always said that I've always been a person that always believe in not making promises that you can't keep. Don't paint a picture or sell someone on a dream that you can't bring into fruition. It's no way in the world that things that she's saying that she's gonna be able to do when she get in the house. It's just funny. And I'm not about like bashing women or anything else there, but it goes back to what Trump said a few months ago, about Kamala. It's a situation in which she never mentioned being black until all of a sudden she mentioned that. It's just a situation in which I don't see how you can just become black out of the blue. And to me, she used everything that she can use to get the black vote. She leaned on her sorority, the AKAs, to get black women to get a part of her bandwagon. She's leaning on going to these different shows and all these televised shows and audio shows to see if she can tap in to get other black people to vote for her. She's going to these, like every moment she get on TV, she's doing it. And if someone has to keep showing themselves, I've always said this as a whole. People show you who they are the first time. When they show you who they are the first time, believe it. That's who they are. Who wants a president that loves being on TV? Who wants a president who just loves to talk about themselves? Who wants a president that has to be in front of everybody at all times? Yeah, it's just to me, I this is an open dialogue. Like I'm not on like any side at this point. Me personally, I just think with the policies that I believe in, I don't know who to trust at this point. So I just seen someone comment about AKA or KKK. I mean, I know that's easily gonna be something on a race card type deal. I know AKAs is a black sorority and KKK is, we know what they stand for as a whole. I don't want this conversation to be about race as a whole. I just wanted to be about honesty. I wanted to be about the focus on what can be done to get us to a good place in America. Whether you're an Army veteran or a veteran as myself, or someone who has a family, who's married, who has kids. I just think with the with the where we at currently in the world, we're not in a good place. And as I stated a few minutes ago, it scares me because, like I said, I do want to get married at some point. I do want to start a family, but the cost of living is so high everywhere, and you can have a six-figure job, and I'm single. So think about me. I'm an Army veteran with 50% disability for PTSD. Made six figures with my last job, and I still struggle. I struggle with my car insurance going up because of where I live. I struggle with the groceries going up all the time. Like eggs was almost 12, $13 for eggs. Orange juice was almost $7 to $8. Gas keep fluctuating between 320 up to 4. And then if you go, I go hiking for time to time. So if I happen to go to California, my gas to fill up my car is gonna be $6 or $7. Like, we're not in a good place. To your point, Joseph. Like, what are we gonna do to get to a good place? And if anyone says that these last 4 years have been great, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself as a whole. I'm about to change careers, and I'm my decision making for my career is based on where I want to live, the cost of living. I'm looking at what my insurance could be. Like I'm punching numbers, so when these federal government offers are coming in for me, I have to factor in everything. Like if a job pays 140,000 a year, I gotta look at what the tax rate is in that state. I gotta get with my insurance company and see what my car insurance is gonna be, what renter's insurance is gonna be, uh, what the apartment is gonna be, what the groceries and everything else in that area is gonna be. I can't just say, hey, you offer me 140K, cool. I'll just make it work. Like 140K may not be good if you go to a California compared to a Texas or Washington State, a place state that don't pay state taxes. You just gotta worry about federal taxes. So we're just not in a good place. Like we're not where we need to be at. And it's just frustrating to me as a whole. Like you can't go I look at everything in my life. I'm a numbers person, so I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna look at everything from start to finish. I'm gonna brainstorm. I live and die on my Google spreadsheet that I built several years ago. It allowed me to get debt free. It allowed me to pay all my bills coming in every month. Man, I have everything built into that spreadsheet. I populate numbers and etc. And nowadays you can't just live and die off of what your pay is gonna be. Like right now, do we really think that if we maintain on the Democratic side, like I said, I'm not part of any party. I'm all about policies as a whole. But think about these last 4 years. I can tell you right now, my car insurance went up every year. I don't have any car accidents. I don't have anything against my record. But because the market value, because the how the market is, my car insurance went up every 6 months. I look at gas. I've been in Colorado for the last year and a half, and prior to that, I was in Delaware. East Coast gas has always been cheaper down south. When I moved to Colorado, the gas went up by 30 to 50 cents. So imagine paying $2.80 something in Delaware for almost 2.5 years, and then move to Colorado, it's $3.50. It's close to 3.75 and etc. Groceries. Like it's been times in the past I could just go to the grocery store and spend about $150 on groceries, and that's a full cart. $150 right now in groceries, that may be a quarter of a cart. Eggs are high, juice is high. All the stuff that you don't need that's bad for you is still cheap. But if you're trying to eat healthy, try to get your vegetables and fruits and all that, they're double and triple the price that it's been for years. Like, it's just, if you're not worried about this economy right now, like, you must be living in a perfect world. And I would love to live in the world that you're in, that you're just content where you are. You're not everything just going perfect in your life. Like, if that's the world that you're in, like, I'm happy for you. God bless you. But the rest of us know good and well that ain't the case. Yep, and you're right. You gotta, yeah, you're right, Alex. Like, you do have to plan accordingly. But that still goes back to what I was saying. Like, if you're not a numbers guy like I am, that has everything built on the spreadsheet that I manage my fund, you gotta be wise. You gotta be able to uh make sure that whatever you do, you gotta make sure that you're doing it for them as well. Like, I remember back in the day, man, I'm 41 years old. It didn't matter what everything was. You just can go to the grocery store and go. I mean, when I was a kid, gas was like 69, 79, 80 cent, 89 cent a gallon. Like, that was that was crazy seeing all of that there. And it's just a matter of, I don't think that the cost of living has to be high. It's just what's going on so much. And I even saw this online on YouTube. We're paying so much taxes, whether it's gas taxes, whether it's for infrastructure. And to be honest, when I lived on the East Coast, especially up north, like in Delaware area, those roads were horrible. And I'm sitting there in the back of my mind thinking, all right, we're paying all these taxes. When you pay your car tax, when your registration, a portion of that goes towards the roadways. And what people are failing to realize is your senators and your House of Representatives, people forget about them. Those people control a lot of the rules that go on in your state, and they're not being held accountable. Like, they're putting all these rules in places and making all these bills, and they do the same thing that the presidential candidates do. Like, every 2 years, when it come down for them to come back and get reelected, they'll come back and say, "Well, I did this, this, and this," but doing this, and this led to what? Did it lead to our roadways getting cleared up, making it better? Did it lead to gas prices going down? Did it lead to the cost of living going down? Like, if it didn't lead to that, then what did you do when you was in the office? Because it obviously did not benefit us as the people. And that's why I'm saying, everyone, like, this ain't about race at all. So people making this a race thing, take the race out of it. When you take the race out of this, when it comes down to voting, it makes everything vanilla. Everything is basic. And then when you look at everyone as a whole, as an individual, the struggle is real. It don't matter if you're Hispanic, black, white, whatever race you are. Unless you're a trust fund person that had millions or etc., $1 million, like, I read this up. I think some people talked about this online too. $1 million in California was spent way different than $1 million in a Tennessee. You may not even go. $1 million in California may only last you 3 or 4 years. But if you lived in a Tennessee, $1 million could last you years. multiple years. So it's like, only thing I would tell anyone, when you deciding on who you're going to vote for, choose wisely. Try to make sure that whatever policies that they're talking about putting in place, try to fact check it. Try to see if it's something that can really be implemented, something that can actually make make it better as a whole. Because I just believe when you look at, I feel as a people, especially people that's may have been born and raised as a Democratic Party person, I just feel like they've just brainwashed you to vote Democratic because they felt as though they're doing a lot of things for the people. And the older I got, I realized that the Democratic Party is not doing things for the people. A lot of things that they're doing is just for the betterment of themselves. And you got to think those people that work for the government, like as senators and House of Representatives, they're not paying taxes. The taxes that we're paying, they're not paying those taxes. You know, and you got to think about that. If those politicians that we're voting for had to pay the same taxes that we paid, they'll be living paycheck to paycheck too. But because they don't have to pay those taxes that we're paying, they don't care. And that's what you got to look at. Like have to, you got to look at the big picture. My end game always was the move to the West Coast because I'm a 49er fan. I'm a season ticket holder. But the cost for me to get to the games every week gets higher and higher the last 3, 4 years. To the point that I have to really consider possibly giving up my season tickets because I can no longer fly to the game, get a hotel and a rental car now because it costs a lot now to get all of that when I go to a game. So I'm making real life decisions. It's a situation in which I'm like the last couple of games I've gone to, I literally flew to the game and then flew back out the next day. I didn't get a rental car, nothing. I literally found a hotel that was close to the airport to look at cost finding measures. So it's just a situation, everyone, that the older you get, the wiser you get. So this don't let don't let the politicians that want your vote brainwash you to an agenda of something that can't be done. And you don't cast your vote and got other people believing in something that can't happen. And then a few years later, you're going to wonder, why did I make that decision? Why did I vote for this person? So this be mindful of that, everyone. Like I said, I'm not here to tell you to vote for Trump or for Harris. But I would just say, look at your life as a whole. Look at your surroundings. Look at your day to day situation. And look at the policies that's being talked about. When you look at the policies that's being talked about, what I would want you to do from there is look at what can look at something that can actually be done. Don't look at it because sometimes people say something and sell you on a dream, on something that can't come to pass, that can't come into fruition. And you can't, at this point, everyone, you can't be sold on hope. Please don't be sold on hope. Like, I can truly say at this point, you can almost say America is hopeless. You can, I mean, it's, America has been living on hope for years. And that's just, this ain't it. All right, this is not it, guys. No one should have to struggle on a day to day. If you're someone who works hard, got a decent paying job, you shouldn't have to live paycheck to paycheck. We shouldn't get punished for getting better jobs. We shouldn't have, to me, I don't think we should have to pay higher taxes because you got the job of your dreams. Like, why should I have to pay extra taxes? I worked hard to get to where I'm at. I finally done made it to where I'm at, and now I get punished for making it. I mean, that's not my situation, but just imagine you being someone who's had a job in which you've worked, but you're getting paid 80 to 100,000 a year, and now you done got promoted to like a senior manager, and now your pay is at 250 or 300K, and now because of how much you're getting paid, you got paid a piper because you made it. Like, that's wild as hell. I mean, why am I getting punished for finally making it? I mean, what are we doing here? Like, I shouldn't have to pay more for things because I make more money. So it's just things like that that worries me. And this is from a single person. So me being a single guy thinking this way, imagine being married and having multiple mouths to feed. That hundred and something dollars, I mean, hundred some thousand that I make a year among four people ain't gonna spend the same way. My hundred, my hundred plus thousand a year in this scenario for one person, yeah, I can do whatever with 100K. But when you got a wife and have maybe two kids, that money ain't gonna spend the same way. You got I mean, your insurance gonna be higher that you gotta pay for your family. You got more mouths to feed. You got insurance. Like, you have a lot more responsibilities. And the way this economy is in the current state, like, you can't be comfortable. Like, I believe in not being complacent. I believe in doing all you can to ensure that you're planning appropriately in this life. That way you can make the best decision for yourself as well as your family, and honestly, I just believe that you should not have to just at this moment in your life have to make real life decisions as it relates to a scenario. And we work too hard in America to have to struggle. And it's back to what I said. You should not have to make life decisions at a gas tank, man, at a gas pump. You shouldn't have to make a life decision grocery shopping. You shouldn't have to make a decision about paying your car insurance, your registration, um, going out to eat, starving. Like, these are the things that I think about every day. And and I think everyone should be thinking about the same thing that I'm thinking about as it relates to who you're gonna vote for. You know, these are things that you really need to look at, whether you're single or married. Um, is the person that you're voting for, are they going to be able to end the inflation that we got going on? Are they going to be able to lower gas prices, grocery prices, insurance rates, cost of living? If the person that you want to vote for cannot do that, or don't have a plan to address these issues that we're currently in, you may want to look at the other candidate. That's what I'm going to say. You know, Um, because as I stated when I went live initially, I ain't never seen a candidate that just wants so much FaceTime in America. Like Kamala Harris is on every platform that she can get on. TV, radio, town halls, and etc. And then the other day she stated that she has fundraised $1 billion. So think about that. She's been campaigning for the last couple months, and she says she's raised over $1 billion. That is insane. I'm not here to fact check that number, but you raised $1 billion on what? On promises that you're going to deliver on? How did you get that $1 billion? Did you say what you had to say to get people to buy in? Did you make or did you promise some policies that you're going to put in place to reach a certain dynamic? Are the decisions that you make towards a certain person, a certain people? Because a lot of things that Kamala Harris is promising, it's a lot of things that she's promising that's catered to the immigrants. And honestly, long as I have no issue with immigrants, but I want them to, they need to do it the right way. You need to be, you need to go through the policy, go through the system to become an American. Our borders are not secure right now, and because our borders are not secure, the more the more inhabitants that we have in America, it's going to cost more things to go up. It's going to cost, we'll have to continue to pay for more things. If we have immigrants coming into the country, they're not paying for they're not paying taxes, they're not doing anything. And if they're not paying taxes, and now she's proposing a plan for immigrants to get 20,000 for housing. Like, are you serious? What about the rest of us who was born and raised in the United States? What do we get? That's like one of the craziest things that she's proposed so far. An immigrant could come in this country and get $20,000 for a house. I'm gonna be straight up with you. Me being born and raised in South Carolina, the cost of living is not that high there. Imagine me. I've seen a lot of 4 or 5 house upstairs, nice houses that may go for 120K. The government giving you 20K towards that. That's almost 20% of your mortgage that you ain't got to come up with for not being born here. Are you serious? What about the hardworking people that don't have a down payment for a house because they don't make enough? Imagine someone making 120,000 a year. If that was something that all Americans got and qualify for, I would agree with that. If that would be for all people, if it was a first time buyer program, like I had a first time buyer program when I got my first car in 2002. I was able to go to my credit union, and because this was my first time buying a car, I was able to get my I was able to get me a car on a first time buyer program. Like if she proposed that a first time buyer program for first time owners of a house, then hey, cool. I agree with a 20,000. But that's for everybody, not immigrants that's coming to the country. If she had said that, hey, I'm going to propose that we have a first time buyer program for new owners of a house, that when they go and apply for a loan and everything else. Here's 20,000 on us for for your house. That would be great. I would be I'll be very pleased to have that. No, so what I'm saying too, to everyone's point, if you don't have the money, definitely don't do it. I'm just saying for in a perfect scenario, someone who someone who's making my scenario, my scenario was if someone made 125K and they said they asked for 10% down and that person don't have it, that's like 12,500. If it was a first time buyer program and that 20,000 went for everyone in that first time buyer program, and the government will offer that, that would be dope. That would be totally amazing. Like I qualify for something like that already as a veteran. I got my VA certificate before I got off active duty, so when I decide to get a house, I'll be able to use my VA loan to get a house. But it's just a matter, to your point, rate the stack with the market. You know, they could raise all the prices up. So to your point, it won't even matter. The late that $125,000 house could go up to 150. So all all these lenders, all they're gonna do is, if they offer that $20,000 for a first time buyer, then they're gonna just jack up the price by 20K. So you may have the closing costs may go up. The and a few other things may go up. So it's definitely, you got a point. So it's just a matter, and that's the person in my life. I'm not here to push anyone to a certain party. I'm just looking at, I've had a job the last 20 plus years in which I had to do a lot of analyst stuff. Like before I went to go launch new work sites from state to state, I had to do a community bio. I had to look at a market analysis, cost of living, and et cetera before we provided staffing for a company in certain states. So I've been in 42 states. So there's only 8 states left I haven't gone to. So not me going on live talking about this topic, it's been part of my job for 20 plus years. So I'm looking at current state stuff and how we can possibly get to a future state if A, B, or C are addressed. I know with me, it's been easier for me just to have an apartment because I've relocated every couple years. An apartment to me has been easier for me to manage. But I know at some point I do want to get me a house. Like I said, start a family, get married, and etc. But it's it's cost to have a house. I mean, you may get your tax write off every year, but I don't. That's probably a fraction of what you're paying. So if you get a tax write off for maybe 3 or 4 thousand a year, but if you're if your house bill is like 2,000 something a month, I mean, quick math, that's like 24K a year. So if you get a $2 or $3,000 tax write off, that still is not even maybe 10% of what you're making so far. So are you really benefiting from a tax write off? So it's just stuff like that. So I I I'm just gonna say as a whole, I think right now we all have a duty to make sure that who we vote for, we actually just take the time to just look at what policies they have in place, what they wish to do. And I would just say just make choose wisely, you know. Try to make sure that whoever you vote for has best interest in mind. I'm just someone who's concerned about the next few weeks as it relates to the election. And it just makes me nervous about my future because honestly, whoever gets elected um, controls a lot of the things I wish to do the next 4 years. Me being 41, I do wish to get married at some point within that time. I do wish to start a family at some point in that time. And whoever is elected president is going to control that process for me. It's going to determine how the market is. It's going to determine the cost of living. It's going to determine a lot of things that scare me right now. And if it doesn't get fixed within the next 4 years, then I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. Just like a lot of the Americans right now don't feel that they can make it. I mean, like I said, I'm an 8-year military veteran with 50% disability for PTSD. Um, I've, and I, what I'm about to say next is I hold dear and near to my heart. I've been deployed 3 times during my 4 years and 8 months on active duty. I got stop loss because I had a job that the military didn't have enough strength in, so I had to stay on active duty for 8 additional months. September 11th was my fourth day of basic training. 20 plus people quit basic training immediately after September 11th. They took a couple of my drill sergeants off the trail. They had to go back to their units and they rapidly deployed to Iraq. I graduated in November 2001 from basic. Went across the street and did my AIT. Graduated AIT in February 2002. Got stationed in Fort Benning. Got to Fort Benning in February. March, we was prepping to go to Kuwait. I was in Kuwait by May 2002. I literally just got to my unit in February. In May, I was in Kuwait, guarding the border for 6 months. And literally, we got back in late November. December, we got our deployment orders and went back over there in January 2003 for the war. I was part of the units that took over Baghdad. It was very scary over there, getting in a lot of firefights for almost 6, 7 months straight. We didn't lose anybody, fortunately. We get back in July 2003. The mission changed, so we had to lean back on our military training. So when you go through basic training on the Army side of the house, you're pretty much doing a lot of things that the infantry people do. So we did a lot of infantry training stuff. We went to the Mojave Desert. We did training there. We went to Fort Polk and did some training, some mount training there. We got our deployment orders again to go back to Iraq. And late November 2005 in January, we got deployed back to Iraq. We was over there for a whole year. We got hit by roadside bombs every day we went outside the gate. We lost our first set of soldiers within 3 days and on the ground. We lost over 200 people for that whole year. And what I'm saying is this: as a military veteran in this type of economy, I felt better serving the country because I knew what I was serving for. My benefits were great. my family was taken care of as a whole, even though I wasn't married or anything else. But they made sure that as you continue to get promoted, you get more money for housing, etc. So food, housing, all that was taken care of being a soldier. But when you get out of the military, it's when life happens. And what I'm saying is this: I lost 6 of my friends after we got deployed. 5 of them committed suicide because they couldn't cope with being a civilian. Most of them had wives and kids, and it didn't matter to them. They couldn't take it anymore. They killed themselves. And it's just times like this here, you can have a family, wife and kids, but when society is like it is right now, in which you're doing everything the right way, you're trying to provide for your family, and you can't because you're having to struggle every day, paycheck to paycheck. Sometimes you just want to end it all, and that's what my friends did. A few of my friends out in the military, that's what they did. And I know as a like I said, as a soldier with PTSD, oftentimes you have to do things to take your mind off of what's going on. So I'm thankful that I've been able to hike. I'm thankful I was able to go to 49er games and do other things to get my mind off of work or about what's going on in this economy. But when you go to these election polls, everyone, in the next few weeks, you need to make sure that you're keeping your family and everyone in the U.S. present. I mean, just make sure that you're keeping everybody in mind when you're casting your vote. I mean, make sure that who you vote for is keeping your best interests in mind. Don't just vote straight Democrat because you were born and raised as a Democrat. And same thing for a Republican. Make sure whoever you vote for is they got policies that you believe in. They're standing for what you feel is right. Um, and that's very very important to make sure that you're doing that. So it's I appreciate the dialogue that I had in the chats this past hour and 9 minutes. But I really want everyone just to have that present in mind to just think about where you are right now and think about, do you want to live the way you're living for 4 more years? And if you don't want to live the way you're living right now for 4 more years, then that's your indication that change is needed. Whether it's your representative in the House, whether it's your senators where you live at, whether it's the presidential candidate. When you go and vote, make sure that you're keeping your family in mind. Make sure people you care about, make sure that when you're making that decision, it's for the betterment of those individuals and your future as a whole. So again, it's not about a personal agenda that I have. I'm pretty sure a lot of people feel the way that I feel um, about where we're at in its current state and improvements that are needed to us to get to a better future state. And I don't know exactly how to get there. Um, I just know we got 2 candidates that we got to go and vote for, whether it's Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. That's the only 2 options we got. So it's we're in a conundrum right now. So I don't. It just as I've stated, it just makes me think. Um, You can look at numbers all day. Me being a numbers person, numbers can be manipulated. Numbers can make things look better than it is. So it's don't be fooled by what someone says. Make sure that when you're listening to what a party has to say, an agenda and campaign promises, make sure that what they're saying is fact checked. Make sure that it's even doable. Because I promise you a lot of things that a candidate may say that they can do, they can't do on their own. They got to rely on the Senate. They got to rely on the House of Representatives. They got to rely on the president. And all I'm going to say is this: for the last 24 years, the Democrats then had either the House and the Senate or one or the other. And we got to figure this out. All right. We got to figure this out. There got to be a way for us to reel in the economy, reel in what's currently going on, these gas prices, inflation, and etc. I mean, I know it's not going to be fixed immediately, so I'm not going to say if we vote Trump in, he needs to get this fixed within 4 months. Like, that's not even logical. When a new president comes in, it may take 18 to 24 months just to fix what the outgoing president had in place. So I'm just going to say, like I said, I don't know. I mean, you can make an argument that both candidates is an upgrade from Biden. Um, I know he was up there in age and seemed like he was having strokes while he were talking and just falling off of planes. And I know he had a lot going on the health side of the house. So I believe, honestly, Trump or Kamala is a upgrade from Biden. But don't just um, don't just vote based on a name. Just go and just have your reasons why you're voting for that person, and then just stand by that. I just hope for what I want to have in the next 4 years, which is a marriage and kids. I want a president that's going to give me the ability to have a family and get married and have a prosperous life that with an economy that's not going to allow me to live paycheck to paycheck. That's what I want. My insecurities are I have a lot of insecurities right now based on that. I know with a job that with the money I've made with my salary job, I know that wouldn't be enough to support a wife and kids, and I made six figures. So I just know that we deserve better as a whole. I don't know what candidate is going to give us the best option. I'm just afraid that Kamala is just doing a lot to get people to vote for her, and I think it's going to be for naught. I really think she's going on these television shows and town halls to get a lot of the black people and Hispanics to vote for her. And what she failed to realize is it's a lot of people that don't want to vote for her because of who she is as a person. Um, I visit California throughout each year for 49er games, but her track record is not the best. And she was locking up a lot of people in California for nonviolent crimes. She was locking people up for minor offenses as a whole for a lot of years. She laughed at a lot of people that she locked up. She didn't take it serious. Um, so a lot of people that lived in California that were black, especially on the male side, when they found out that she was going to going to run for president, they already said that they weren't going to vote for her because of how many black men that she put behind bars that she fought to put in jail that didn't even have crimes that warranted jail, but she pushed to get them in jail, and they were in jail, and a president like that that's trying to get the vote of individuals from a certain race, that's not a good taste in their mouth. It's a lot of black men right now that's not going to vote for Kamala because of that. And that's why right now she's doing all she can to get black men to vote for her. But they're not going to forget what she did in California. And that's something that she's not going to be able to get away from. But the bad thing about it all, she's using black women, trying to get them to she's using black women to have them encourage the black men to go and vote for her, and making it come off as if you don't vote for her, then you're a coward as a man, as a black man. And that frustrated me. Like, I saw some people online today that was bashing black men for not voting for Kamala Harris, saying it was basically a lot of black women were saying that she's the only hope for us as a whole, and if we don't vote for Kamala Harris, then we ain't gonna be with you, type deal. Like, that it's laughable that she would pretty much push black women to get black men to vote for her. Like, when I'm choosing a candidate to vote for, I'm not gonna vote for you because you look like me. And to be honest with you, as Trump said, she's not even black. She's Indian and Jamaican. And as Trump said, she just all of a sudden became black. That bothers me too. Like, you will conform to what you need to become to get a vote. You know, that's what I call fake. If it's one thing I don't like in this world, I don't like a fake person. I hate a fake person. A fake person would be whoever they need to be to get you. They have the same story and etc. And the crazy part about that, a lot of the interviews that she's had, she said that she was born in a middle class family and this and that, and etc. But there's a lot of receipts that are being brought up about her life, her previous marriage, and etc. And you got a lot of people saying that we need a Mamala in America. I'm sitting there in the back of my mind, like, and there's no offense to her, but they could have chose another term for her. We don't need a Mamala. Like, that to me is a slap. That is a slap in the face to all mothers in America. You can't tell someone, you can't say that you can be something that you're not. I know, I know, I know Governor Sanders. I think that's her name. Um, the Arkansas governor was saying that she shouldn't be saying certain things because she's not a mother. I thought about that over the last couple weeks, and I'm not gonna go as far as Sarah Huckabee Sanders said about her not being a mother, but to a certain degree, I will agree with her on some things because I know I love my mother. A mother's love is something that can't be compared. I don't think anyone can love you more than your mother. And if you've never been a mother, you can't say that you're gonna be a mama love or whatever you want to call it. That America needs a mother and Kamala is gonna be America's mother. Like you can't. That's just one of the stupidest things anyone could say. It's very disrespectful to mothers in America. For one, I take offense to it because I don't think that's okay. As a whole, you can't be something you're not, and she may have reasons why she didn't become a mother, and that's okay. Your body, your choice. But we gotta be we gotta be honest here when it comes down to certain things. So it's let's just make sure that again we count up the costs as it relates to anything. Voting is something that we all have earned the right to do. It should never be taken for granted as a whole. We just need to make sure that whatever we do, that we really just count up the costs, choosing a candidate that's going to be able to again have policies that you agree with, and that we're choosing someone that's going to be able to make an impact for the next 4 years. And you got two options. You got Kamala Harris and you got Donald Trump. So choose wisely. Again, make sure that keeping your family and your friends having that presence of mind to make sure that you're making the right decision. So this probably has been probably one of my longest lives. I appreciate everyone who was on live with me today. I didn't choose to be on camera because I was looking at some stuff on YouTube about the presidential race, and I just wanted to do something different. I wanted to have a midnight conversation, dark screen, just legitly just being open minded to anyone who decided to come on my live and just have us just pretty much discuss what we feel about what's currently going on and possible alternatives. So we we definitely, as America, we definitely deserve better than we currently have. And again, either candidate is an upgrade from Biden, but we deserve better, and we definitely need to do better than we have the last 4 years. And if you're not nervous, as I am, maybe you're living in a perfect world in which you have everything. But if you don't live in a perfect world in which you're living paycheck to paycheck or have to really make life decisions as it relates to bills, groceries, gas, and a lot of other day to day and monthly um monthly things that you have to pay for. You definitely need to make sure that whoever you're choosing again has your best interest in mind. They care for you and gonna try to get rid of this inflation and make America great. Again, that was just a context to my response. It's not geared towards support of Trump, but it's just a situation in which we gotta be smart about the next 4 years. I don't know if either candidate is gonna get us to where we need to get to. There's a good chance that the damage that took place these last 4 years, there's a good chance it won't get fixed in the next 4 years. That's how that's how much damage has been done. So, uh, but I guess it is what it is. Thanks everyone for your time. This may be something that I may do from now until the election. If you are new to my channel, I'm someone who enjoys. Um, I'm someone who enjoys the best things in life. So I like to hike. I like nature. I like sightseeing. I love my Niners. So I capture content. I post it to YouTube in its rawest form. I just enjoy what I'm doing. I'm not a full time YouTuber. I've been on YouTube since May 19th. The purpose of me having this channel was just to share my life experiences from travel and then just having fun as a whole to the world. So I've been uploading content since May 19th. I have content that have waterfalls, wildlife, river lakes and streams, vacations that I've taken overseas, whether it's been Maldives, Bora Bora, Paris, Brazil, hikes I've had in the United States, and other places I've gone to sightsee. Um, I really enjoy my life. I really enjoy just making the best out of it. If you're someone who's new to my channel, definitely check out my content. Like, comment, and subscribe if you see anything that you like, and hit the notification bell for that way. If I go live or upload new material, you'll be the first to see it. I don't have any paid services or anything on my channel. If you're someone who wishes to support my channel, I do have a Cash App. It's Living with a Purpose 20. My initials BP will pop up. So B as in Bravo, P as in Papa. And any support that you give will go towards the upkeep of my channel. I'll more than likely be upgrading to either a Sony or a Canon camera soon. So I wanted to rely on my cell phone for pictures and videos. But other than that, everyone, be blessed, stay safe, and vote for who you want to vote for. Make the right decision. Take care, be blessed, and I'll see you on the next live.